Welcome to today's episode of Navigating Nursing School with your nursing tutor. Today is story time. I am going to tell you a story that might make some nursing students mad. I'm going to tell you why I never do tutoring for free anymore. Yes, I have done tutoring for free at various times in my 15-year career as a professional nursing tutor, and it almost never worked out well, either for me or the student. And so I want to tell you about that because here's the thing. I understand that as a nursing student, a lot of times, that can cause financial stress. Whether you can work in nursing school or not, there's like tuition payments you have to make, right? And so it can't be easy. And I do occasionally get emails from students who are a little upset at the audacity of me charging for my tutoring services. So I just thought I'd explain it because most of y'all, I think you understand. Even sometimes when nursing students can't afford it, most of the time they understand that I am a person just like everybody else. I have to feed my family. This is our business. And I do really want to help nursing students, but I can't help nursing students if I don't first feed my family, right? So besides that, though, there's actually some really good reasons why I do not tutor for free and why I have learned that it's not just not good for me to tutor for free, but it's not good for you either. And we're going to talk about that today. If you have not met me before, oh, by the way, I'm also going to talk to you about a new option, relatively new option I've been experimenting with to help nursing students who have trouble affording my tutoring, but still want the help and finding ways that I can help them without tutoring for free. So before we get into that, my name is Nicole. I am a professional nursing tutor and a BSN RN with over 15 years of professional nursing tutoring experience. I'm going to talk a little bit today about my history of how I got into tutoring and what that was like as a nurse. And my goal back then all the way till now is to make nursing school easier for you. It's to help you get through nursing school confidently and calmly, to move past just trying to memorize the information and get from test to test, but to actually understand the information so that you can be thinking like a nurse better and better as you progress through nursing school, so that by the time you get to NCLEX, you won't even need to take an NCLEX prep class if you don't want to, because you just understand the information. You can think like a nurse. You've developed your clinical judgment skills. That's what I want for you in nursing school. Okay? I want to tutor myself out of a job. So if that's my goal, if I have this big vision for helping you get through nursing school, from changing the way nursing education is done, why don't I offer my tutoring services for free? Besides the obvious that, I do need to eat. And actually, before I start talking about tutoring students, I actually want to tell you about one of my nursing school mentors. Okay. She was very influential when I was in nursing school, one of my nursing instructors. She really, I miss her. But she was somebody who kind of opened the door, and she was able to share her experiences with me as an instructor to kind of show me what it was like. Because, of course, obviously, I knew what it was like to be a nursing student. It was very frustrating a lot of times, as I know you guys feel frustrated a lot of times, too, because the same stories that I experienced in nursing school that I thought, okay, this is just toxic. This can't be the way it is everywhere. I found out that it is the way it is in a lot of nursing schools, that my experiences in nursing schools, they're not unique. Okay. Like the frustrating last minute schedule changes, miscommunications, sometimes some passive aggressive stuff going on. And I still hear stories about that all of the time, every single day, from nursing students who reach out to me. They feel like they're the crazy ones. So I'm here to tell you real quick, if you're experiencing that in your nursing school, not all nursing schools are like that, but I think the majority are, unfortunately. And if you're experiencing that, you are not the crazy one. You are not the crazy one, okay? It's the system that is not set up in your favor in a lot of ways, but there are ways you can adapt to that and still overcome and succeed. And that's really what I help nursing students with through all of my services, especially in my group tutoring membership. But anyway, this nursing professor, she kind of opened the door for me to like peer behind the curtain, so to speak, and learn that a lot of the instructors feel that way too. This is why I'm so adamant that the instructors they want to help you. They want to help you. But a lot of times, either their hands are tied or they don't know how. And then they end up getting frustrated too. They're experiencing a lot of the same toxic things you are, just at a different level, and so on. But that being said, this instructor, I remember one day we were having a conversation and she was just telling me some of her life experiences. And she said that she remembers the very day where she was talking to somebody and she looked in the mirror and she said, you know what? The nursing profession is never going to be fixed until nurses can look somebody in the eye and say, hi, my name is, I am a nurse and I charge this amount. And I have thought about that moment for so long because, especially after COVID, it's easy. We are in a nursing profession. Obviously we're in a nursing profession. We're in a helping profession, I mean to say. Nurses are in a helping profession. A lot of us got into nursing because we want to help people. And it's hard emotionally. It's easy to get manipulated. And I'm going to use that word, manipulated, into believing that if you want to help somebody, you should not be paid for it. But that is so far from the truth. It's so far from the truth. And it goes back to that analogy of you need to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help the people around you. So that means that you need to make sure your own needs are taken care of, which includes having enough money to live on, before you can help the people around you. It has to be sustainable. So that's kind of the philosophy going into this. But I'm going to tell you, I had even having heard that, it was still a lesson I needed to learn for myself too. Okay, so even being told that, like many things in life, I also had to go through and learn the lesson the hard way. So here's story time. I'm going to tell you a couple stories of students that taught me that I should not tutor for free. Okay, and I'm going to actually start, this is ironic, but I'm actually going to start with a couple of students where free tutoring worked out for them, okay? I got into nursing tutoring when I was in nursing school. I started as a peer tutor. I had done tutoring on non-nursing school stuff off and on throughout my life. Like I'd done math tutoring, I had been an SAT tutor, I had been a psychology tutor because I actually have my first degrees are in psychology. I have my graduate degree in my master's degree in clinical psychology. So I had done a lot of tutoring and teaching before ever starting nursing school. And when I started nursing school, within my first semester, I was already figuring out ways to make it better, to make studying easier, to grasp the information. And my instructors noticed and they invited me to become a peer tutor, and they had some money in the department to pay me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so I became the department's peer tutor. And I had some students coming to me. My program had both a bachelor's program and an associate's degree program. So I was tutoring students in the bachelor's degree program and I was tutoring students in the associate's degree program, which was a little bit weird because sometimes instructors would send me students in classes that I had not taken yet. And I remember the first time that happened, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? How am I going to be able to tutor on this? But what I quickly figured out is that I specialize in helping you know what to do to become an independent self-learner. That means I don't have to know everything. Now, I know a lot now. I've been doing this a long time, right? But I don't have to know all the content because I know how to figure out the content. I know how to look it up. What I specialize in is helping you to understand what you need to do to get to that same level that I am with feeling comfortable with the content. And that's why I never was nervous about tutoring people ahead of me in the program again after those first couple people, because I realized that they were missing their foundation. This was the beginning of me learning to developing really the 4 steps of the Silver Bullet study system, even years before I started calling it that, because I realized that a lot of these people didn't even have their foundational information. And that once we could put their foundational information, which is step 1 of the Silver Bullet study system, once they could put that in place, then steps 2 through 4, the rest of the understanding just started coming naturally. And so that worked out really well. But there were some students that were coming, and they would come, they had this little study group that they would all come together to see me, and they were committed. They attended regularly every week. We had a long-term tutoring relationship while I was a peer tutor. And then when I graduated, obviously I quit being a peer tutor, and they kept calling me because there was no peer tutors to replace me. So they had no more tutoring available for free at the school. Um, Now, because I had a pre-existing relationship with this group of students, I was like, sure, come to my house. I'll keep tutoring you for free. And I did. And that is the only free tutoring relationship in my life that I can think of that turned out well. But when I look back and I analyze it, the reason it turned out well is because we already had a pre-existing relationship where I had been getting paid for their tutoring. They weren't paying, but I was paying. I was being paid. So I was being compensated for my time while they were proving to me that they would be consistent and kind of take the tutoring advice I gave them, and that they would be good students to work with. And so when they called me afterwards, after I graduated and was no longer being paid, I was happy to tutor them for free because I knew that it would be beneficial for them. It would be fun for me because, believe it or not, as a tutor, I don't just want to take your money. I want to see you succeed. It's not fun for me. It's not fulfilling for me if you are not succeeding. So I want to work with students who are going to take the advice that I give them, who are going to enact it and implement it, and then see the success that comes from that. Okay? So this group of students, they went on, they graduated, they passed NCLEX. It was fantastic. I was so excited for them. There's a couple of them I'm still in touch with today. I guess it's been from when they graduated, it's probably been about 13 years or so. And they're doing fantastic, and I love seeing that, okay? Like I said, though, that is the only free tutoring relationship that ever worked out. And again, I think it's because that kind of testing phase where they kind of proved themselves to me, I was able to get compensated by the school for that. So it was like no risk to me. Now, there was another story. It was around that time, towards the end of my peer tutoring, there was a student who I honestly can't remember if she came to me while I was still a peer tutor or if she got my name from one of the other girls, because my name was getting passed around at that point after I graduated and left, and saying, like, call Nicole, she might be able to help. And this girl, she called me. And she was, she had a sad story. She was struggling in school. So I offered her some free tutoring. And I think we only did 1 or 2 sessions. And I gave her an assignment. And I said, listen, because I got the impression she wasn't doing the work. Okay. And so I said, hey, listen. Oh, you know what? I was going to tell you another story first. Okay. Hold that thought. Let me tell you this first story because it's chronologically in order. While I was still a peer tutor, there was this girl who came. She came 3 weeks in a row. She was very consistent to attending her tutoring sessions. However, the very first week that she came, she was studying her cardiac unit in med-surg. And the very first week she came, I asked her if she knew her cardiac anatomy and physiology. She said, yeah, pretty much. And I said, okay, tell it to me. And she couldn't. And I mean, not even like she was a little bit close, like she was way off. Like when I said, okay, pretend like you're Miss Frizzle and you're taking your 4th grade shrinked down bus of students on a guided tour through the circulatory system of the heart and lungs. What order do you go through? And she told me, she basically gave me a tour all the way through the heart and then going to the lungs. So like things were like obviously out of order that anybody should like know at least, and so I kindly told her this and I said, look, this week, you have to memorize your cardiac anatomy and physiology. She said, okay, and she leaves. Next week she comes back and I say, okay, tell me your cardiac anatomy and physiology. She got it wrong almost as badly as the previous week. It was like she hadn't even tried to memorize it. And so I said, okay, listen, I tried helping her, like, understanding the disease processes and stuff on her tests, but I'm like, but seriously, you have to memorize the cardiac anatomy and physiology. I can't do this for you. You have to do that. She says, okay. She leaves. She comes back the 3rd week in the row. And I said, hey, what's your cardiac A&P? And she still couldn't do it. She still couldn't do it. So even though she was consistently attending tutoring sessions, she apparently had the wrong idea of what tutoring can do, because tutoring can't do it for you. Okay. And so and so I basically told her flat out, I was like, look, do not bother coming back to tutoring until you have cardiac anatomy and physiology memorized. And I don't think I ever saw her again. Okay. Because she wanted me to do it for her. And I'm like, that's not the right kind of attitude. That's not what I want to do. Now, that was a valuable lesson for me, because I don't like if she had been paying me, because she was getting it for free, the school was paying me. So I was like, okay, I don't care. Like, if you want to keep coming. And no, I take that back, because I told her I don't want you to keep coming, because again, I want to see your success. I want to see your success. By the way, this is also why when people ask me, well, what are your success rates as a tutor? I can't tell you. I don't, because it doesn't always depend on me. I can tell you the things I'm going to do as a tutor, but when it comes to the part you have to play, like, I'm not going to say, oh, well, I had a 50% success rate because half the people don't do what I tell them to do. Like, that's not fair to me either, right? I can tell you that if you do what I tell you to do, you're going to be successful. I can't always give you a timeline. It might take longer than you want it to take. But if you do what I tell you to do, you're going to eventually be successful. Okay? So in that sense, I have a 100% success rate for the people who use the materials. It's just not easy to measure otherwise. But anyway, that impressed on me. Okay? But I was still getting paid. So I wasn't too angry about it. I was just kind of like, this is ludicrous. Why would you keep coming to tutoring and not do what the tutor says? But again, okay, back to the other story I started telling you out of order. So this other girl, she called me after I had graduated. She had gotten my name from some of the other students who knew about me and had worked with me. And I think she had failed her class, if I remember right. I could have that. That memory could be fuzzy. But I think she had failed a class. And she was looking to prep to retake. And so I said, sure, I'll do some free tutoring with you. I met with her once or twice, and I was seeing that same pattern that I had seen with that other girl that I remembered. Basically, that I would tell her to do, she would show up to tutoring, I would tell her to do something, she would go home, she would come back to the next tutoring session, not having done the assignment I had given her. And she would expect me to tutor her some more. And I'm like, I can't tutor you more if you haven't done the tutoring I already gave you. Okay? This stuff builds on itself. It builds on itself. That's the issue with nursing school. That's why nursing students might be able to struggle through first semester studying the wrong way. But by the time you get to second or third semester, it's getting harder and harder. That's because it's all building on itself. And if you do not build a firm foundation, what happens to a house when you don't have a firm foundation? Eventually, it's going to crash to the ground. You don't know when that's going to happen. It might not be until there's a thunderstorm, or it might just randomly fall down because somebody slams the door too hard one day. Okay? But the point is, eventually it's going to fall down. It's a little bit different for everybody. So with this student, I had kind of learned my lesson. I had it in my back of my mind. I was like already starting to think, okay, this might have been a bad idea to offer her free tutoring, but I still felt bad, because I want to help people. I'm in the helping profession too, like tutoring is nursing. People ask me sometimes, are you still work as a nurse? Obviously, I'm a nursing tutor. Okay, what they really mean is, do I still do clinical work? And I don't work bedside anymore. But I am a nurse. I'm still a nurse. I do nursing tutoring. But she, was coming back and not doing the assignments, and so I set up a test for her. And I don't mean like a written test with NCLEX style questions. It was a tutoring test. It was, listen, do not call me to make your next tutoring appointment until you have done these things, until you have memorized this, until you have done this, and you can bring it and show it to me at your next tutoring session. And she said, okay, and she left. And I did not hear from her for months and months, probably 3 or 4 months. I was actually shocked when I got a call from her out of the blue several months later. And she called me up, oh, Nicole, I still need help. I had to take a break for a while. I just, self-care, blah, blah, blah. And I'm actually a big proponent of self-care. But I also knew that several months without doing this assignment that really would have taken her just a few hours to do, that indicates how committed she was to the process, which was not very much. And so I told her, I said, that's fine. I totally get that. Have you done your assignment yet? Well, no, because I said, that's okay. It's okay. Listen, I told you that after you do your assignment, then you can schedule a new tutoring session with me. And she said, okay. And then I never heard from her again, ever. And I still to this day don't know what happened. I don't know if she ever was able to successfully complete graduate school or if she just gave up. And it makes me kind of sad. But at the same time, I'm glad I didn't waste any more of my time with her, because I would rather spend my time working with students who are going to do the things I teach so that they can see the results and get the success of what they teach. And it's kind of sad. I feel bad for her, but at the same time, I set my boundaries. And I'm a big proponent of boundaries. I could do maybe I should do a whole episode on that and helping you with like boundaries in nursing school and boundaries as a nurse, because if every nurse had healthier boundaries, the nursing profession would be way better as well. So anyway, these are the experiences I've had that created my hard rule for no free tutoring. Okay. And so I had that hard rule for years. And like I said, I'm always looking for ways to make it accessible to students without giving it away for free. It's one of the reasons why I offer so much free content, like on YouTube, on this podcast, on TikTok. I'm looking to expand this year to Pinterest and Facebook and Instagram and all the social media channels. So if you're on there, find me and follow me, and that helps me get a foothold, because starting from scratch on some of those sites is always daunting. I also have a blog. If you go on my website, you can read articles about nursing school and tutoring and things like that. But anyway, and I created a scholarship recently. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But I had this hard rule of no free tutoring for many years. And then one day, one of my nursing colleagues, she runs a really big Facebook group full of nursing students, and she found out about this struggling nursing student. She was a single mom, had some of her kids had some health issues, and she was really struggling. And so my colleague wanted to gift this struggling nursing student a 6-month membership to my group tutoring membership. Okay. And I was like, okay, this doesn't break my rule of no free tutoring, because I will be getting paid for my time to assist this student. And I gave my colleague a discount because she was doing a kind thing. And I even threw in a free one-on-one 30-minute tutoring consult for this struggling student. She attended the one-on-one tutoring consult. She was super excited. She was bubbly. She was, thank you so much. She was so grateful for the opportunity. Oh, I'm going to be there at every group tutoring session, which was in my group tutoring membership. There's a group tutoring session every single week. Plus you have a forum available to post all of your nursing school questions, like unlimited, as many as you want. Plus there's a library of resources to help you learn how to study, and dosage calculations and time management, test anxiety, like all the things. And the library is always growing, and members just get all of the updates for free. And she was, talking about how she was going to be using everything and relying on the tutoring. And after that one-on-one 30-minute tutoring consult with her, where we developed a success plan for her and everything, I never saw or heard from her again. I never saw or heard from her again for the entire 6 months of her group tutoring membership that she had been gifted by my colleague. And that was the final nail in the coffin, to be honest with you, that it's just like I've just seen too many students that if they get something for free, if they don't have skin in the game, then tutoring is not their priority. Life issues will come up. I don't think she was lying to me, but I think life happened. And because she didn't have skin in the game in terms of the tutoring, she wasn't paying for it. It was just a free thing. So if she didn't use it, no big deal, right? But, that's not the type of student I want to work with. and I don't want students like that taking up spots in my group tutoring membership when those spots could go to somebody who's actually going to use it and benefit from it. So that is why that was just kind of like the emphasis to me. Now, I didn't mind taking her on again because it was like when I did peer tutoring, I was getting compensated for my time because I'm a professional nursing tutor and I charge this amount, right? Just like one of my original nursing instructor mentors had taught me. And so I was able to kind of give her that test period with low risk to me. But think about the number of nursing students that find me online now. I have I'm kind of excited, like probably in the next month or two, I'm going to hit 100,000 followers on TikTok, which is amazing to me. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to impress my kids. I thought it might, but it doesn't. It doesn't seem to. But, you know, if even just 1% of those students wanted to get free tutoring, I have no way of knowing which of those students are going to actually benefit from it and which of them don't, because I don't have a pre-existing relationship with any of those students. And I don't have time to wade through because my experience has told me that the majority of students will start free tutoring with good intentions and then just let it drop because they have no skin in the game, which is why I decided to create my scholarship program. And the scholarship program, at the time of the recording, I just launched it. So we had some students who applied and qualified for it. And what the scholarship program is it doesn't offer free tutoring for all the reasons I stated in this podcast, but it offers a 50% discount on my group tutoring membership. That's like a permanent 50% discount for as long as you remain a scholarship member. Now, at the time of this recording, my group tutoring membership costs $97 per month, which is honestly a steal for tutoring of any kind, especially with somebody with my level of experience, because you get, depending on the month, it's like 4 to 5 group tutoring sessions per month. So if it's 4 tutoring sessions per month, that's only $25 per group tutoring session. Plus you get the recordings. Plus, you have access in between tutoring sessions to the forum, so you can post questions for me anytime. Plus, you get my entire library of resources, like I mentioned. And a lot of those resources, like if you just buy my Silver Bullet Study System course, that's $97, a one-time fee of $97. But you get that included in 1 month of membership of my group tutoring membership, along with dosage calculations and test anxiety and time management and all of the Silver Bullet Study System examples I have. I do a bonus class, tutoring class for my students. So let's see, last month in February, I did it on endocrine, how to study endocrine. So that video is available in the membership now. But all that to say is that even at $97 a month, even though it's a good value, it's a steal really for good tutoring, it still can be, when your budget is tight, it's still tough sometimes to pay for that. And so with my scholarship program, I could just have like a simple scholarship application that I open up every 2 to 3 months for students. And if you are interested in that, just get on my email list, because it's my email list that I send out the announcements when the scholarship's available. You fill out the application, and for students who qualify, I have a certain number of spots available for the scholarship, for scholarship members. And for students who qualify, you get a 50% discount on the monthly membership for group tutoring membership, which brings it down to $48.50. Okay? So this is not a perfect system, but I'm doing the best I can to try to figure out ways to make tutoring accessible while still making my tutoring business sustainable and feeding myself and my kids, and setting good examples for our future nurses to set healthy boundaries and make sure that you put your own oxygen mask on before helping others. So I can model that so that we can make this whole nursing profession sustainable, right? So yes, and if you have any other ideas for ways that I could continue to make it sustainable or adjust the scholarship program or things like that, I am always open to hearing that. And again, I'm going to continue making free content and sharing things as much as I can through the podcast, through YouTube, and through all of my social media sources. If you want to help, but you're not ready to join the group tutoring membership, either on scholarship or otherwise, or for whatever reason, maybe you're an instructor even, and you're like, this is great, how do I help? I don't need tutoring. One easy way to help is by going to Apple Podcast and looking up the Navigating Nursing School with Your Nursing Tutor podcast and just leave me a 5-star review. If you can leave some comments, that's awesome too. But whenever you leave a 5-star review, that helps spread the word to other nursing students so that they can find this podcast easier. They can get the word that nursing school does not have to be a horrible experience, that it can be a more positive experience, that nursing school can be challenging, but it shouldn't make you cry every day. Okay? And as long as you have the right tools and build the right foundation, nursing school can actually be a great experience. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a better understanding of why I don't tutor for free, why it's actually to your benefit to have a little bit of skin in the game, but that there's ways that you can, if you need the scholarship, give me an email, get on my email list, and then you can apply for it next time it opens. So in the meantime, good luck on your nursing school journey.